It's no longer a secret that in the new episode of the Amazing Digital Circus there will be a new character, and he will not be alone, but there will be several of them. The Gosford company itself said that Jacques and KFO, which were supposed to be absorbed in the new episode of the Amazing Digital Circus. There won't be practically any of them there, since new characters will appear, which I have already shown to you. Old videos. If you haven't watched my old videos, then be sure to watch and see these new characters, but in this video I will tell you what they will be like, what kind of character they will have, what they will do in the new episode in principle, their actions in the new period, and so on. But if you want to see all the new characters and see something in the new episode for the Amazing Digital Circus, then subscribe to my channel. Watch this video to the end, like it, write in the comments your opinion about these characters and in general. Activate your capabilities under my videos. First, let's talk about the Gus Pile Company itself. What does it do in principle? At the moment, she is currently filming episode 2 of an Amazing Digital Circus, which is already understandable, because episode 1 turned out very well, collected huge views, they collected a very huge amount of funds, sponsors, etc. Created their own online store where they sold their merch, plush toys, and so on. And now they are working on episode 2 of the Amazing Digital Circus. And let me just quote them to you what they said in their interview on their Twitter. The link to it is in the description of this video, and let's not hesitate, and I'll tell you about it. Someone we know will be abstract, but it was actually confirmed on Tumblr by a user. It's nonsense that we're meeting someone new character in next episode, and the whole episode will be dedicated to them, who it means we may have too much circus participants again, and one of them will have abstract. So if this happens, who will so it is? And why is it the first opportunity king? Because he definitely very close to madness. It shows a lot there are no symptoms of schizophrenia have an idea of what's going on and what, so he's probably hallucinating something else is constantly on his mind, and he never knows if there is anyone around him. It's almost as if he's living his life in his own world. For example, when everyone leaves the stage just like that, shouts for no reason at Jangle, and he says she scared him, though they've been around each other for a while now, for a few minutes already. But we know from KMO what's the number one thing that can do someone is abstract if he is crazy and isolated, because no one really liked him KFMO, and he saw the exit door that he isolated himself in his room for maybe a few days. So he wrote the exit all over my room and painted pictures that he did it, and no one checked him until they entered the circus, so they felt like they had to introduce her to KMO, and then we understand that he abstracted. And if Kinger has schizophrenia, which means I will always be isolated, at least in his own mind, with hallucinations, random events, or people who, if he were to see the exit door, that might start appearing in his hallucinations, and you can easily go crazy. But one thing this could really help Kinger from not abstraction is the fact that he cannot focus on something, which means what if he didn't look at the exit door? It's quite possible that he will just forget and leave, return to your world of madness. This is really important because who was locked in the feed in the room by Jackson himself, because it was made clear in episode 1 that he was hallucinating. He was coming out of this Amazing Digital Circus. He turned into some kind of scary monster with hallucinations. He is also joined by the crybaby herself and Kinga, who also do not behave very calmly. They behave like schizophrenics, since they are clearly hallucinating, and so on. This, of course, was in the first episode itself, and in the second episode, as they were duplicated. Most likely we won't, because they will be isolated. It will also be shown in episode 2 that they will be isolated in separate rooms, and new characters will appear, since, remember, it was also unknown where from just putting on the VR glasses she got into the Amazing Digital Circus itself. The same thing will happen with other characters. That is, people will begin to penetrate en masse into the Amazing Digital Circus. After watching episode 1, new characters will begin to appear in episode 2. I believe that this will not all end, but there will be 3, 4, and 5 more. And, most likely, this will be very soon in the next year, that is, 2, 3, 4 will be released in 24. Therefore, if you want to see more parts of the leaks and so on further, because we were told that episode 2 is almost finished in the next 2 months, episode 2 of the Amazing Digital Circus will already be released this year, and then episode 3, which you will see on my channel, it's completely leaked. Therefore, if you want to see it, then like, subscribe to the channel and watch this video to the end. Let me further quote the words of Gus Vors on their official page on Twitter and Tumblr. Gooseworks also confirmed that he is literally 48 years old and has probably been in the circus for decades, which makes me think he actually can't abstract like he would do now. Also again, Gooseworks said on Tumblr that the next person who would be abstract would be the one we wouldn't believe even if she told us. Which makes me think it's not Kinger because he's literally the #1 suspect because of his crazy behavior, but the one no one would not have expected Ratha, as it was already slightly hinted at, and I'm leading a few different pieces of evidence. This is when Jax, Ratha, and PNE went to Cal's room. Jax ran away, leaving Ratha to be severely beaten by KMO, and this caused her body to start glitching, and my theory is that this is actually the first stage of abstraction, and we can see in the concept art of the characters, perhaps there is another stage of abstraction with the help of this humanoid figure. These are exactly the same eyes as Kosa's abstraction, and if we compare Ratha glitchy body on Kos glitchy body, we see they move the same all somewhere with no real predictability. And icing on the cake, when Ratha first saw Kofos she said maybe there is still time to fix it if we get a Kane that is on its own, not too alarming, but since Radha later asked Pomi to find Kane and fix her, it means that she knew that she was going to abstraction, because Kfo was definitely abstracted, there is no doubt about it, and when she saw him, she suggested asking Khan correct them and suggested the same for herself, which confirms that she was indeed in the first stage, and it could have many side effects that led her to the abstraction. We saw that C stopped her at the end of the episode, but it is possible that this could have a lasting effect on her character. Maybe if you're glitching, in fact you might be more likely to be abstracted in the future, like when Jack sees the glitchy glow. He has a very worried expression on his face, because if he knows that the abstraction is spreading and it could infect him too, or let's say that C fixed it 100% and it won't affect her in any way, it's possible that it could actually affect her mind, because that we know that Kane cannot influence the character's thoughts, and she was in such excruciating pain, and she even said it out loud when she said it to Kane. It is now possible that it could have been a traumatic event that affected her mind, and now she will most likely be pessimistic about the circus after what happened, and we know that she is already losing her mind before anyone else about it, because when she was walking and talking to Pally, she went on this long rant about how you slowly go crazy after being in the circus for so long and it all makes no sense. Which reminds me a lot of KMO, and they even slowly zoomed in on her face and faded out to show that she was also going slightly crazy, or the biggest plot twist of all times could happen and Pomi could actually be the next person abstract. And I know she's the main character and all the main characters get plot armor, but that's the whole point. It's called plot armor. It protects the plot, not the character. It's just that most plots need a protagonist, but what if Pawn's story ends up abstract? Well, I found some things that could lead to this actually being true. The first thing we know is this Kofos saw the Exoder and came down crazy obsessed with it. We don't know how many times he's seen it, but he depicted it in his paintings, which is good enough evidence for me. But guess who only the other character sees? The exit door is secure, and we know this because after of how she saw the exit door when Kane was showing her the area, she tells the other circus members about it. This was understandable, since Jaquez, having entered the room, forgot what he beat, who turned into a hallucination. He developed schizophrenia and turned into something like a monster. He forgot it and immediately ran away, because it was clear that either he or it itself, but it itself would never happen, because if the photo had been beaten, then I remember, it would also turn into a hallucination, since he touched everything only up to the hand, and the hand has already begun to glitch. Therefore, like this, that is, in episode 2, it will be clearly clear that many characters will leave and turn into a hallucination, new ones will appear, and so, in a circle, it will happen in both episodes 3 and 4. Therefore, like this, if you also think about this, that Jaquez is to blame for everything and, in principle, he should be removed from your circus, then write this in the comments. But I believe that Jack, not who he says he is. Also, the concept of remember the collapse and how Christ, which you have already seen from my competitors on YouTube channels, and in my videos, where I have already shown this will be in the second episode itself. It's an amazing digital circus, since it was created, which means it will be in the series itself. This has already been officially confirmed on their Twitter and their Lear. Now you see screenshots of his data in these posts, that's why it's like this. And finally, I want to ask you, what do you think, in general, about my video? Did you like him or not? What do you think about the information I told you today in this video? What do you actually think about all this movement? In the second episode of the Amazing Digital Circus, be sure to write this in the comments, subscribe to my channel. The more subscriptions to my channel there are, the more often the videos are released. the hungrier the information will be. Put your likes, the more often the videos will be released on my channel and the more information you will learn about episode 2 of the amazing digital circus. Everyone, bye.